Welcome to an interview with the Grandmaster of the martial arts. My name is Roger Grimes. I am a 7th degree black belt in the Tracy's Kempo system. And it is my pleasure to bring you this interview with my personal instructor, Grandmaster Mark Miller. Grandmaster, how are you doing?
I'm fine today, Roger. How are you?
I'm great. I have a few questions for you.
All right.
One is pertaining is, how did you get started in the martial arts and what age were you?
Roger, I was probably about 15, and funny, went to a martial arts school. They wouldn't teach karate until you were 21 years old. Can never figure that one out.
That's a weird one.
Yeah, so I started with judo.
Okay.
And did it for a little while. My mother wouldn't pay for the lessons, so eventually I didn't, have enough. But I acted as a training partner for somebody. In judo, they call it an uki, means dummy.
Yeah.
And really got be very interested in it. And time went on, boom, boom. Went in the Marine Corps. That was during the height of the Vietnam War. Went to Vietnam. Spent 13 months. Everybody knows something in the service.
Okay.
And really was able to nurture. When I got to Vietnam, I was in Okinawa, and a gunnery sergeant started a class on base. It was Ishanru, which is a system, native to the Okinawa, and really enjoyed that. Got out in California for a while before I came home. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. Trained with some guys that were doing Mudokwan, which is a Korean system. Met some other guys that were doing Kenpo and really liked it. They were using their hands and everything else.
Okay, so that was the first time you really got
Yes.
to hear from Kempo? Or?
Yes, yeah, and I asked them who they trained with, and they were training with the Tracys.
Okay.
And that's when I first heard the name, or Kempo.
Okay. What school did you find of the Tracys? There was multiple schools, wasn't there?
Well, Roger, I came back here to Cleveland, and I'm driving down the street, and I see Tracy Karate sign.
Okay.
And a man named Hugh Alford, who was my first Kempo instructor, and he, I would say within 2 months, I was already teaching. And the guys in the old days will know this. I mean, some of us started teaching as purple belts.
Okay.
And because you had 40 techniques per belt, and it took a little bit longer. I worked with Hugh till 73, and I ended up purchasing the school from him.
Okay.
So it's been close to almost 50 years that I've been here at the same location.
Now, I remember you telling me stories about the early days of purchasing the school, how it was tough at times, and
Sure.
can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, being a young man in business, and it's difficult. But see, this is where Al Tracy came in. Hugh Alford was, I believe, the first franchise owner of Tracy's, and that was, I believe, back in '69, and he was in Concord, California.
Okay.
And then he sold it, moved here because J.T. Will moved to Columbus and was doing real well. But there was a little bit of a down low on the karate, and I think that's one of the reasons that Hugh sold it to me. I think he thought it was getting, falling down his business. And that's when my relationship started with Al, and Al was guiding me. I went to a central training. I got more training, and eventually, Al took me on as a student.
Okay.
Once you're Al Tracy's student, you're his student.
So you had a relationship with Great Grandmaster
Yes.
Al
Oh, yeah.
Tracy for a
Anytime
long time.
Al came in for a seminar, I'd get a whole day, and he would work with me. And that was one of the reasons later on when he moved from Seattle. He retired for a while, came back out. He wanted to be in an area where he could reach his bigger groups of guys, St. Louis, Chicago, me.
Yes.
At one time, Roger, I had 25 schools. I believe that was the largest amount that anybody had branched off of Al Tracy. And I've had some really, really good black belts, yourself, and many of these other guys that also own the schools now. And
There's still a lot of us are left, but a lot of them are gone now.
yeah, well, the economy, Roger, people, you know, the Kempo never failed.
Yeah, you told me that over and over, and that sticks with me.
Personal problems.
There's one
like
thing
that.
you've always said to me, and it stuck with me. You said kiss. I thought you wanted to give me a
Yeah.
kiss at first, but then you said keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
And then I also thought, are you calling me stupid, or keep it so simple it is stupid?
Yeah.
Well, which was that?
The first.
Just kidding. But that's the thing is, I noticed all these years I've known you,
Yeah.
you've kept it simple.
Yeah. I try to. I don't run with the trends. You know, Al always said teach Kempo. You know, guys went with the Teenage Ninja Turtles. They went
Yeah.
with the Power Rangers. They went with Taibo. We stay with the Kempo, and that's, I think, why we didn't ride the trends. You know, back in the mid-'70s, sport karate was very popular, and we competed quite a bit. And some of the gentlemen like yourself are still competing. We've had great teams, and I had quite good spectators. I competed myself. But I don't like to travel, Roger, and I pretty much stayed in this area.
Yeah.
That's why I'm not real well known throughout the United States.
I was going to say
Yeah.
that about you don't travel very much. And for you to travel, you must really like somebody. Then didn't Grandmaster L. Tracy have you travel a few times?
Yes,
to
yeah.
Seattle.
The first gathering of the Eagles, he gave me a free room, gave me a free pass to the thing, and one of our guys, Dr. Ed Overchuck, who was a pilot, threw me a free airline ticket. It was never the money to go somewhere.
Just don't like to go.
I just don't like to travel. And now I feel obligated. Now I'm on this board of advisors that we're trying to run the system. You know, things that happen politically and the higher belt promotions, just to keep quality in our system.
Now, from my understanding, what you told me too is the advisory board was put together by Great Grandmaster Al Tracy.
He hand selected.
That was before. That was years before he passed, wasn't it?
That's correct. In '03, he was in Chicago, and there's a document that probably is familiar with, and he set up the pattern which he wanted to have. You know, he wanted his wife and son to run the business end of the Tracys, and he wanted the advisory board there, which were his top black belts that had been around him the most, and to run the particular thing. This way, not one person was a dictator. You know?
That was an awesome idea. I believe that Great Grandmaster Al Tracy was a visionary.
I believe
in
so.
martial arts.
No,
a lot of the things he's done and changed,
Roger,
he doesn't get credit for.
he looked into the future and saw what happened to other organizations.
You see these businesses or these organizations to help martial art businesses. Well, Great Grandmaster Al Tracy was doing that for years before this started becoming a
Yes.
trend, and where they started charging all this money to do this.
Yeah.
He was doing it for us.
Yeah.
That's
And
the
getting back to the old ways. In one of the gathering of the Eagles, we're in a ballroom, and he called me up in the middle of all these people, and he goes, "Ding-a-ling-a-ling." So we had phone pitches,
Yeah.
and I repeated it, and Bart Fell will remember this one. And Al turned to him and then made Bart do the interview. And Al then after that goes, "That's why we were so powerful and good." I remember Al telling me the Koreans approached him, why the Tracys were so successful, and Al said three things. Private lesson, which the rest of the karate world surrendered to us. The second one is we teach Kempo. And they had sent Bong Song Hong, who was a pretty famous Korean. He's a guy that stunt double for Billy Jack. And he goes, he didn't want to hear the third one. And he goes, the third one was unity, but the Koreans already had that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, where do you see the future of Tracy's Kempo Karate going to
Well,
now that Grandmaster Al Tracy's passed away?
Well, here's the thing. We're kind of in uncharted waters, doing it the way he did it with the board and stuff like that. And most of us have dedicated our whole lives that are on that board to the martial arts. So I don't want to see something go, Roger. I'm gone. myself, you, some of these other guys are with me when they were young kids. I want to see you be able to carry this on. Who knows? Maybe you'll be on the board someday. You know, we want to be able to pass that on and continue what Al Tracy started.
Yes,
You know?
I agree with that. Here's one thing you've said to me before too. Sometimes you have to put the book down and teach the martial arts.
Yeah.
I really took that literally and I put that into action. But where do you get that from?
Well, I was a student, Roger. Still am. It got boring sometimes. You know, teach me a blue belt and the techniques. Teach me a form, and sometimes people don't respond to that. And sometimes you have to be able to change your program a little bit, but then you get back to it. I mean, I still teach the original, orange belt, purple belt, blue belt, So the system is good. I'm not changing the system. Just sometimes changing how I divvy it out,
Yeah, I just wanted to hear those from your words on there because I took it to heart the way you're saying it. Is basically
you can be too sterile.
we could be too much book work.
Yeah.
The technique. Well, sometimes they might not understand why that technique works.
To me, it's too sterile.
Yeah. But it's a great start.
Correct. And everybody's different. Anatomically, they're built different. Some people don't look like we want them to look. Obviously being Al, my I patterned myself. I thought Al was very fluent, and I had an opportunity to work with Ed Parker. We brought him in several times, and for a big guy, he moved very fluent. So.
Okay. Do you have any more comments before we finish this? Anything that you wanted to add and say?
No, I just think with where we're at, I think the system's in good hands, and I think we're just going to continue on as if Al wasn't there. We all have good memories of Al, but this is what we also were trained to do.
Yeah. I like what you said, we're in uncharted waters. But the thing is, with the Kempo training that we've had, that teaches us to adapt and change.
Sure.
What's on your wall says the unexpected happens. What do?
Yeah.
Adjust.
Adjust.
And that's what I like about this.
Well, this is 2019, Roger.
You have to.
Sometimes you have to, but you change within the realm of what we're doing, not change just to change.
Exactly. I like where it's going. It's going to be a little bit bumps sometimes trying to figure things out exactly, but it's working out really well so far. And I like where we're going and having us meet together at different places like the Gathering Eagles that's coming up.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really awesome thing that we're becoming more united again. It felt like there was kind of a separation for a while there until it started coming and the passing.
Well, Al's health got bad.
Yeah, and then that's when it started
uniting.
uniting.
I think there was a little lag there until we were able to implement what's going on right now.
Yeah, and I'm pretty confident that it's going to be good.
Good.
And thank you for this interview.
Well, you're welcome, Roger. Thank you.
I was in the Marine Corps. I don't like to fly. I don't like to drive. I hate that flight. I was in San Francisco. I hated it. It was so long, uncomfortable. Need my own plane. I'm gonna have a little box over here, like for donations. Yeah. I'm gonna do some techniques. I put down key techniques because you have to put something down. And there are in Kempo. How many techniques are there in the Kempo systems? Everybody know?
650.
Yeah. Al told me, Tracy, that when Ed Parker came to the United States, there were 64 techniques. Because when Ed went back to, Joe, when Ed went back to Hawaii, Al and his brother Jim broke into the office and Ed had everything written on a 3x5 card. And they copied it. So why do we get all these techniques? Because everything had tons of variations. Tons. There's some maybe you didn't even learn it. There's some I forgot to teach my guys. And then some are high-ranking black belts, and it'll come up one day, And they go, well, why didn't you ever teach me that? Sometimes you just don't remember until somebody asks that question, what, technique. All right. What's a technique? Anybody got a good explanation?
Scripted move with adaptability.
Oh,
Tim Trammell. It's just
a
practice.
series of moves against a certain type of attack.
Yeah.
But I have a student, Roger knows, that I think he coined it the best. Scripted moves with adaptability. I bet you everybody here has different variations on moves. Because anatomically, we're not all built alike. So that's what's going to happen sometimes. But we're trying to get back to a standard technique. And then you do anything you want with it, as long as it works. You want it to work. Because I don't know why everybody's into martial arts. Nobody's beat me up. I just saw this thing and I went, man, I gotta do this thing. And I kept going on and on and on and further. And you know what? I still like it. I still can learn things. You can always learn. Okay. Beginner, come here. You are what I wanted. Okay. If you want to sit down, sit down. You want to just relax? Okay. What we're going to do here is we're going to make a technique. Okay? All right. You know what an outward block is, right? Okay. I'm going to go like this, and you're just going to do an outward block. No, don't step back. Just right where you are. Just do an outward block. Good. Okay. Pretty good move. All right. Do an outward block. Now, grab me. Turn your wrist and just grab me. Slide that hand down. Grab. That's it. Okay. Relax. Relax. Okay. Let's try this again. Block and grab. Okay. Nice. Okay. Now, I want you to take this foot and step right here. Do an outward block and grab. Okay. Let's try this again. Block. Step. Grab. Okay. Good. Do you know what? I was watching about 2 years ago a mixed martial arts thing. And the guys were like big, tough guys. The guy went right in the eyes. Guys went on his hands and knees. A 12-year-old kid can poke you in the eye and damage you. It's a great move. By the way, one of my guys owns an MMA school where I trained, and he trained the champion, Stipe Miocic, who's the heavyweight champion of the world right now. Man, is he good. Gone down there and watch him train. He's good. It's tough. All right. Out. Grab. Step in. Poke me in the eye. Beautiful. Let's try it again. Okay. Try it again. Yeah, that go. Try it again. Nice. Okay. One more. Lock. Poke me in the eye. Don't forget to grab me. I want you to just step right through here. No, don't tip your head. Just right there is good. Pull down both hands on my arm. Pull down. Look at that. Lock it right there. Let's try it again. Okay. Hey. Poke me in the eye. Step through. There you go. Okay. Hey. Boom. Okay. We just made a technique. I bet you see that's from a couple different techniques. All right, the first technique I really want to get to is called aiming the spear, because it can be used against so many different things. Okay, grab a shoulder. I'm just going to come in like this. I'm going to come to the jaw right here, and I believe it's a half fist. That's pretty hard. Does anybody ever hit anybody with a half fist? Your life? Self-defense? Me neither. Yeah, you know what I mean? I think it's a good move, but although I have a woman that trains with me, Jenny Smiley, Virginia Smiley, she was attacked. She's about this tall. In Cleveland, she was a social worker, and she hit the guy in the throat with a half fist. And you know what he did? He backed up and says, I don't want to know that girl. And the other guy ran. And they were probably drug addicts. She looked like a victim, you know, and that's probably what he was going for, you know. Okay, so let's try this. Whatever you try, just do an outward block. Step to my legs. With this hand, just palm, push back. See what it did? And then you can punch me right in the throat. Okay, let's try it again. Good. Okay, now watch this. You do the same thing. I got a gun at your head. Do the same thing. Whoa! I got a knife. Same thing. Honey, no, you got to do the same thing. Step. Look, if you're moving the target.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
What's faster, action or reaction? Think so? Okay. Turn sideways. So, see, these guys all know this stuff. All right. I'm going to take my hand and I'm just going to tap you.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
All you have to do is move that fast. Go! Go! No. Ready? Go! I'm going to hit you all day long.
You are.
Okay, now watch this. Move the target. Ready? Go! Who won? You did.
Yeah.
Okay, see, so that with the knife, even though he's got to decide, when I step, yeah, look at that, you pick, now grab my wrist. Okay, punch it. Okay, now watch this. Same technique. Hook underneath, step to my legs, push, push, push,
And
now punch.
Okay.
Okay, look at that, okay. Choke, do the same thing, come here, look at that. One technique. When you'd rather just practice one technique and get it down, look at all those different options you have in one technique. There's probably more. Look, I just slap you in the face, just block. There it is, step. Girl, look at that. And you could block, push, watch this. With this hand, you could even bring a chop to my throat. Block, watch this. Bring your elbow up in an angle, look at that right across the face. At that point, person's yours. All right, why don't we all grab a partner?
Sir.
Storms of destruction. Shielding storm. Turning storm. Whirling storm. Crossing storm. Thundering storm. Leaping storm.
Finishing storm.